All right, man. So we're gonna keep this super simple to start off. Why don't Chris? Let's start with kind of who you are and why Queen Bee started. Like, give me the initial just reason why Queen Bee Cleaning started and
Hmm.
where it's going now commercially.
For sure. So uh, the company was started in 2015. It was an idea that was, it was my wife's idea. At the time, I was selling cars at a car dealership. So, it was a good job, making good money. And I remember when she approached me. Okay, so she started working for a company as a cleaner. And then 2 weeks in, she comes to me and she's like, Chris, we should open our own. Maybe we can hire people under us, and then we can, look for customers, and we essentially become the middleman. And I remember I said that is the most ridiculous idea I ever heard. It just didn't see myself doing it. When I say cleaning, I'm like, that is totally different from what I'm currently doing. And so my first response was like, no, I don't think it's something I see myself doing. And she keeps going to work, and then the third day she's like, Chris, I'm telling you, there's a lot of business. Let's do this. You only answer the phones. I'll do the jobs. That's all I need help with, and I'm gonna team up with my best friend, and then let's see where this goes. Originally, even she was surprised now because her original plan was, let's just make this like us, kind of like a side gig, and make $5,000 $6,000 a month, and we're totally fine with that. And so I said, okay, that's fine. I keep doing my thing. I answer the phones for you, and then you do the cleanings. I think that's good. So it was so funny at the beginning because essentially I'll be at the dealership, on my desk, and I'll get the phone ring. I don't know if it's a customer from the cleaning business or a customer from the dealer business. So I'm like, hello, this is Chris. So it was kind of like awkward at the beginning, but what helped me, I was a salesman, so a car salesman. So talking to me on the phone, it was fairly easy. So I was like, oh, you're looking for a move out, or you're looking for an office cleaning, right? And I will say, well, let's schedule a in person walk, estimate, and that way I can give you some numbers. So little by little, and this is true. This is a crazy story. This is early January 2015, and March 18. I look at the numbers, and like she's projected to make 3 times as much as I am making, and I'm like, wait a second, I think there is money to be made in this industry. Um, and that was kind of like the reason I said, you know what, let me just, stop doing what I'm doing. If we were able to kind of scale it so far, me kind of doing part time thing, and it's only her and her best friend. If we grow this, I think certainly we can grow it. And so that was the start, right? And as of now, so right now we have 22 cleaners, local cleaners, and then we have 5 virtual employees. So we outsource some departments of our cleaning business, which is the customer service department. That way we offer almost 20. Oh, now we're going to offer 24 hours customer service, so around the clock. And then I also have a person kind of doing outreach to through Instagram and on Facebook groups. So it's kind of like a good team that kind of takes care of most of the operational stuff. And so yeah, it's been a interesting industry to say the least, right? So it's obviously I made some mistakes along the way, but here we are, and I couldn't be more grateful.
I love it, man. I think that's an awesome story. 24-hour customer service. I've never heard of that in cleaning. What made you go to the 24-hour customer service model?
Great question. Everything was evolving little by little. Um, when we were on our early stages, I was doing all the administrative things, emailing, creating offers, responding to the phone calls, do the follow up, and I really thought that was really what set me apart versus all the customer service, because I knew the sales background, like you need to do follow up, because people forget about you, and then keep doing it. But then eventually, you realize that you're dealing with invoices, complaints, refunds, reschedules. The team cannot get into a business or whatever. So that's when I started to say, okay, I need help. And to be honest, it was actually hard at first. I was like, but I don't know if I can find someone that is as good as me. And so, but I'm like, but I need help because I'm getting burned out. It's like a lot of things, and you're answering phone calls like 5 p.m. and after 5 p.m. actually, and I will totally hate that because I'm like, I'm already trying to get some time with the family, and I'm still answering the phone calls. So that's when I started to look into the outsourcing. So look for virtual employees. I was able to find a person that helped me tremendously to grow the business. She actually had some experience working for a big company, so she had some cool ideas that I was able to implement in my small business, and then made certainly a difference. It was her idea actually, to say, hey, I think we're getting some missed calls after 5 p.m. Would it be okay if we hire a second person for the second shift? And honestly, my response to that was, maybe I don't know, because my fear was like, what if that person books a last minute job for tomorrow, and then I'll have to scramble to find a team. And and probably will be already, either watching TV or something already at home, and I don't want to be like, hey, can we do this type of job? But at the same time, I was like, well, who knows? Let's give it a shot. So I remember it was like March, and this is actually recent. So this was March of last year when this happened. So I said, okay, we're gonna have um, customer service from 7 in the morning to 3 p.m. one person, and then from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. the second person, and then let's see what happens. And James, I think, was the greatest discovery ever. My sales almost doubled, and it totally made sense for me. It clicked, and it's so obvious. It was like in front of us. If you think about it, a lot of people that are looking for cleaning services, usually they cannot use the phone during working hours. So by the time they came home and they're looking for something, if you have your hours open in Google My Business or whatnot, obviously they call you, and if you're the only person open, you're gonna take on all that business that nobody else is taking. So it literally we went to almost literally almost double, and I was like, wow. And then from there, I was like, well, wait. So let's add Saturday and Sunday too, and then again, and then it's been like that. But then I was just talking yesterday to uh, it's actually a company approached me. So it's not gonna be really like a customer service and 24 hours. So I will still have the same hours from like 7 to 11 p.m. for phones. But then this other company, essentially what they're gonna do is gonna install a chat. And I already have a chat, but I asked the persons to give me their phone number and email in order to start the chat. And so this company is a little different. They actually start the chat without asking anything. It's more like answering questions, right? And then kind of walk the customer towards the either submit a quote or book online. But then so that's essentially what I'm going to do. So it's going to be like support, but through chat after hours. See if that happens. If that works, then probably I'll move into the calling too. So it will be interesting. We do get some requests at like 2, 3 in the morning. So that tells you like there's people that have like different schedules.
No, I love it, man. I think that's such a unique idea, and you're adding so much value to customers, right? Knowing that after 5 p.m., if there is an emergency at their facility,
Hmm.
that they can still get a hold of someone at Queen Bee. It might not be you, but it might be
That's right.
someone because things
You
come up.
know, you're absolutely right. Another thing was like a second benefit that came about with that is exactly what you said. At the time of last month, March last year, I think I had maybe 140 reviews total in Google. If you go right now, I have like a 320. And most of them says like they have a responsive customer service. They always answer, and that really sets you apart. If you think about it, we're all used to let me order something and get it like in a few minutes, right? It's more like instant gratification. And if you're answering always the phone, they're like, oh, let me call them because they always answer.
Love that, man. I think it's such a competitive advantage because so many cleaners don't pick up the phone and they don't
Mhm.
answer, and then you miss out on
On
uh
potential deals, I
opportunity.
mean, worth thousands of dollars. Some of them, if you think, one missed call could potentially be thousands.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's talk a little bit more about Queen Bee as a company here, because I really love what you guys stand for. I feel your passion every time we talk.
Hmm.
Talk to me about your team. You have multiple employees. You've been in business now for
7 years.
five, yeah, 5+ years, 7 years. What when it comes to Queen Bee's hiring, like one, who do you look for? What are the type of people that you're trying to build with? And like, what are those qualities and characteristics of your internal team that you're looking to hire?
Great question, right? One of the things I look is for attitude more than anything else, right? I don't care if they don't have experience, but they have the attitude of to help people, like because essentially that's what you're gonna be doing. We're helping people clean their spaces so they can have a healthy life, uh, right? And so the attitude come is it's really what I'm looking for because it's funny. A lot of people come, we pay top dollar here, so we start at $18 minimum. That's with our experience. I don't care if you never, used a vacuum before, and so that attracts a lot of people, right? But then because they think, oh, it's cleaning, how hard could it be? It is hard. It's very physical. I've done it, and there was days that I was about to give up because it was like, man, I cannot do this every day. Like it's very tiring. And so that's what happens. When they come, right, and then I look for the attitude right away after I see. I usually have the interviews and I see if they're all going. I tell them, look, this is a sounds like an easy job, but it's not easy. I mean, it's not. It's easy, but it's very physical. So you will get tired. It's not like you're gonna be just dusting. You're gonna be scrubbing and vacuuming and moving. A lot. And I see the response, right? Right then I was like, man, I mean, maybe this is not for me, right? And so I really look for the attitude, and because I really did tell them, I really want to be the number one cleaning company in our city, and uh, we tell them, we're beginning, look at the reviews. We built this along the way. We want to keep showing this image, and so that we are the best. We're the go-to guys. Don't go and try to say $50 over there. Pay us, and we'll make sure that the job is done. That way, we can pay you good.
I love it, man. And I think when you treat your internal staff good, in return, they treat your customers good, right? Because there's a win-win scenario going on.
Absolutely. And to add to that, another thing that also was learned after a while, because we had a lot of churn when it comes to employees. They will come, stay 2, 3 months, and then will leave, or start their own cleaning company, or whatever. Uh, and so one thing I started doing, right, and it was like, well, let's every Saturday let's get and do like a lunch here. After all, everybody comes home from work. Let's do a quick barbecue. We go sometimes to the park. So there's a lot of lakes here in Washington, so it's really easy just to go and grab a place very quickly. And so I started doing that, right? And then I also started actually celebrating the birthdays of everyone. Like here, in the morning we have a cake. We know someone's gonna have a birthday. We bring a cake the next morning. We celebrate it, okay, and then we'll go. These little things, you might think it's not. Man, that's when I started realizing they're sticking longer. They stay here because they feel appreciated. They're making good money, which all that's all it comes down to, right? We all want to make money. But when you make them feel like these little special, like, oh, they brought like birthday cake, right? And then I can bring my kids on Saturday and have a barbecue, hot dogs, carne asada, you name it. So these little things that just make them feel more like a family.
It's company culture, man, and it goes
It
such a
really
long
is.
way. It goes such a long way, and then not only are they more invested in the company, you're also more invested in
And
their
then,
success. I absolutely
hmm
love that. Hey, talk to me about your team setup. Like, obviously, you have your cleaners, you have you, your wife, in leadership positions. Do you guys have like
hmm
account managers? Do you guys have managers? Talk to me just about the
no,
setup of
really,
your team.
we need to structure that part because we have grown very fast over the last, like I told you, like little double from March to this year.
Sure.
And so before we were like a 12-person team, and mostly was still managed through my wife. So I'm at the top, handling the marketing, customer acquisition, managing the virtual employees, right? Make sure that everything, that they're not struggling with anything. Sometimes like, hey, can you help me with this? So I'm there more like to assist them. my wife more like in the operations side, so she will do the hiring, training, and then she will send the person with the team. um, and so because we grew so fast, we're still doing that. So still my wife kind of doing the training, doing the interview, and now with 22 players, like I told, we need to start delegating more stuff, and kind of getting the right help for each department. That way you can start walking away from it, because it's like we're still wearing too many hats, and we need that now, the help.
Yeah, welcome to the world of janitorial and small
Yep,
business, man. Delegation is such a hard task, and it's something that we all struggle with. I mean, in any business, but especially with a operations heavy business like cleaning, right?
that's
You're
right.
managing so many different things. Um, Sticking to kind of the queen bee story here, I love the fact that you guys give back to the community. Talk to
Hmm.
me about your kind of give back program that you guys
Yeah.
mentioned on the website. Just talk to me about the passion that you have for your community.
Yeah, yeah. So we donate proceeds every year to a center here. It's a like a school for school with disabilities, so adults with disabilities. And the reason we came about finding out about them is because my oldest son was diagnosed with autism. So this is in Mexico, right? And at the time, I was still Mexican. I was when I hear the first time. This is 1999. I'm like, autism, like, what is that? It was fairly a new term. And I remember the doctors in Mexico was like, well, you might want to go to the U.S. because the U.S. they're going to be having more programs, perhaps different trials or different, perhaps treatments. So I was like, okay. So we decided to move here, and so yeah, my son was a nonverbal kid. If you see him, you don't think there's nothing wrong with it because he's just not a verbal person or a social person, always kind of like by himself. And after certain diagnosis here in the US, he was diagnosed with what's called Asperger, or high functioning autism. So he's like, I don't think he's going to be able to continue higher education. So, those we were told. Uh, Perhaps he will be able to finish high school, but then after that, we're going to have to look for other programs. And and so all this is happening. He's evolving, going to school, and whatnot. And when finally he gets to high school, we were reminded again, like, well, he has I think 4 years left here, and then after that, he really there's nothing we can do. And so I started researching, like, well, there's no school for that, and there's no school for any like developing skills or for adults with disabilities. So by luck, I remember I think I saw an article, and then it was something about that center. It was like you know essentially teaching adults and how to become independent. So they will probably teach them how the money works, so how that debit card works, right? You need to put money in, and then you need to put back, how credit works, so like basic stuff. And so I went over there, and they were able to connect me with Seattle Children's, and so my son was started getting some different, I guess, called like treatments or trials, and it was pretty amazing, to make that connection. And so at the time when we started having the company, I was like, you know what, um, let me give something back, because what is cool about this story is that, remember, the doctors at the beginning said, he's not going to be able to continue um, the career, uh, because he doesn't have the level there. And and when he was about 18, there was a new program also in Edmonds Community College. They happen to have also like a program for autistic people. So he enrolls there. He starts getting good at it. He starts developing like social skills out of the blue. Like he started actually talking about, oh, I like that girl. I'm like, what? Okay. And so and I'm gonna ask her out, and I'm like, wow. And so things like that, right? And then finally got his credits, enough credits that we get a letter from the college, is like, you know what, he's gonna be able to move into higher education. So I was like, wow, it was just such a blessing. And so right now he's graduating next year. He's studying film production. So he wants to be involved into making movies. He loves horror movies. I don't like him, but he loves them. So he's that's why he's into it. And so that right there, right, I was really impacted by the autism, like, directly. And I've seen it, how my son struggled from the beginning. And then when I went and I was looking for options for him, there was like no such thing. And so this center right here really is not only autism but all other people with disabilities. And I think it's important because, you know I've seen people do become independent after all. They develop skills, their confidence increases, and then they can do even more. So that's what we do. So we every year we cut a check and proceeds, and we donate it to that center, and as a way of say thank you.
Man, I just absolutely love that story. I think your son's story is inspiring to all of us, just like the
Thank
never
you.
give up attitude and nothing's impossible, right? And then
That's right.
the fact that you can use
It
business to give
really.
back.
No, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I think that was is one of my biggest, I guess, considered win, because it really everything was by researching, learning how can I, help my son. And I was, you know, blessed to be really find that, center, and then connect me with other, specialists. And it was just amazing. And then we came out perfect. So I'm very, very, very glad.
I think that's awesome, man. That you guys just use profit for purpose, right? And give
It
back
really
to it.
is. I think it's important to give back to the community. It's just the right thing to do.
Yep, absolutely, man. Talk to me about your guys' training setup. How important is training your employees, and kind of what's that look like for you?
That is a great question. Again, for the longest time, we did it all by kind of manual. So I remember I bought some manuals online, and then it had like a certain setup on how to do things. So I said, okay, well, let's just rewrite it and make it our own. So let's grab what's good from here, and then put our style, or like our methods of cleaning, and then come up with it. And for the longest time, this was our onboarding process. And so someone gets hired. Okay, we do the interview, we meet them in person, everything checks. Okay, here's this manual, read it, I'll wait for you tomorrow, and then you're going to send you to with someone. And what was happening at the time, it's that every time you bring someone new, well, that person's not going to read the entire manual. And even if they do, they're going to retain very little information of that. So what happens, right? So the team that they end up going to, they're being dragged by the new person, because they're constantly, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. So my labor goes up, and I
Yeah,
will feel every time we hire someone new. Then I cut the checks, and I have no paying payroll and workers come. I'm like, whoa. And it's because the amount of hours, right? And it's just inevitable. So I was researching, trying to find out, like, why is there such a training on for like in video or something. um it's so funny because I had a company and never thought of it. And I had the manual. I said, like, well, why would I do more training? I had the manual. And so I have a coaching program now, right, that I currently teach other cleaning owners how to scale. And they're like, okay, great, thank you for all your tips, on how to acquire customers, how to acquire cleaners, but do you happen to have training in video? And I'm like, no, I have a manual. And I'm like, well, do you have video? I'm like, I no, I don't have it. What is stopping me from doing it? So literally, it was on March. We started. So we hired a videographer and everything, and say, okay, let's make a list on how to clean an office, right? How to do post construction, how to do move outs, and then little by little, kind of breaking it down, so more like sections, right? How to clean a window, how to clean a floor, a hardwood floor, and so it's gonna be a library of how tos. So it finally happened. So that's what we're gonna do. And then, like, why did I didn't do this earlier? I had to wait for other people to tell me, like, do you have a training program? I'm like, "Ah, no, but I I should definitely do it, because we've been doing it. And it's so it's funny, but it's a true story. Yeah, after 7 years, we finally produced our training videos.
man, I think you're ahead of the curve. A lot of people in this space don't have training manuals, let alone training videos. So I think you're on the right step, man. But videos just make sense.
It just
And
makes sense, man. It's so easy to digest. You learn it because it's visual, and then you see other people doing it. You'll retain so much more. I'm sure they cannot learn everything right from the get go, but it's way better than having them read a boring manual.
no doubt about it, man. Um, Last kind of question related specifically to Queen Bee, and we're going to get into some client facing onboard questions here in just a minute.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but what's like when it's all said and done, what do you want the Queen Bee legacy to be known for? Like, what do you want to be known for?
God, that is a great question. I really want to be known as the best cleaning company in our area. You know, well, we operate just north of Seattle, and it's called Linwood. I really want to be like the number one cleaning company to go to in the Linwood area, just because we we really tried to make a great service. I mean, I protected that from the beginning. I told my wife, right, we were competing with big franchises at the time. It was the Maids and the Mary Maids and whatnot with hundreds of reviews. And I'm like, if we are ever gonna, catch up to them or become better than them, is we have to have that reputation online. So let's protect that from the beginning. And so I really want to have as many reviews so that way people can see there's real people, local people, that these are the guys that clean my business the right way. Don't go somewhere else. And then also that it's a company that gives back, right? It's important. It's not just the bigger company, but it's a company that also helps the community. So it all comes from for circle. That will be my ultimate goal, and that will be amazing, really.
I love it, man. I think those are two good legacies to be known for. Giving back and good service. What more can you ask for? You know. All right, so Chris, let's move on here to talking about kind of client-facing questions. You get a new client, office building, small, big, doesn't matter. Maybe it's a string of residentials, whatever. What's your onboard process look like when you first meet a client, and how do you get your cleaner set up for success, and how do you make sure your customers well taken care of?
It's a great question. So whenever I have an appointment with like a potential customer, so I go first. I document everything. I try to take as much information as possible. Take pictures, some measurements, make sure that we know what type of floor it is, how often they're gonna be essentially needing the service, and then where the garbage is used. Every detail, so I can by the time I come back, have all the information that I can create a professional quote. Um, we submit the quote, and once they see everything that is looks professional, that it's that we know what we're talking about. Usually the customer says okay. As they sign the agreement, at that point, I just choose whoever. I always like to send the best teams to really wow the customers. So I'm saying, okay, I'm going to send you the best team, and then I talk to the best team, and I just tell them, this is the instructions that I had from the customer. Make sure to leave the garbage cans here, to use this. So I really go into detail, just explaining exactly. And your first cleaning is this, so you're gonna be taking care of it. And so essentially, I always make sure that whenever I onboard a new person and I know that's a new client, I really want to really wow them. I really don't want to go or have any mistakes, because it happened to me once. Right, I was just sending someone, and hey, your ladies forgot to take out the garbage can. And like the first the garbage to the garbage can on the first day, and I'm like, that doesn't look like you're professional, really. So I was like, that's never gonna happen again. So yeah, I just really like to make sure who's the best team. Tell me instructions, and they say, hey, you're gonna be taking care of it. Let me know if you have any questions, and then they off they go. After the cleaning is done, we have the customer service team now follow up with them and say, hey, make sure everything's good. Just to reinforce them, everything is it's checked, and then they're happy, and so it really just reinforces everything.
I love that, man. Talk to me a little bit about your customer service team. So after, is it every clean, every month? Do they check in with your customers and kind of what's their purpose?
Yeah, that's correct. So so there's no all the time calls coming in. So the job is like, okay, well, phone calls are priority, always answer. And but in the meantime, you can send emails to people who are about, for example, that you can see that they're their contract is ending. You know, before that happens, like, hey, is there anything you're gonna do? You know, just make sure that we take care of them, right? 'Cause people feel appreciated when they remember, even after years. Like, we call them and we tell them, hey, thank you for your business, blah blah. They feel appreciated, and they never leave you. If anything, when they leave you, it's because either they're struggling with cash flow or something, but it's never a matter of bad customer service. Um, so the instruction, right, whether it's for commercial cleaning clients or residential cleaning clients, it's the same process. I make sure that you always answer, right? Make sure I always answer every call, every text, every email. Emails within 5 minutes. I know sometimes you're doing something else, but within 5 minutes, I would like a response. But always check on them, even with the ones that cancel. You might call them every 3 months, send them a text. Hey, how's everything doing? Keep on top of mind. And I think this is one of the greatest things I discovered when I was a car salesman that has helped me to continue scale. It's just the follow up, man. You have a database of customers that did business with you at one point. They cancel, they move, whatever. But things change, right? And then if you follow up with them, you will be amazed of how many people will buy again from you. And
Yeah,
so I think a lot
absolutely,
of
man.
people forget that once they cancel, it's just like a lost customer. And like, no, 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 no. You shake the tree and it works.
Totally. What type of feedback have you gotten having a customer support team in place? Like, have you learned things about like how you can improve your processes?
God. Well, right now, most of my process that are right now are thanks to my VA, because she was working for a big calling center. So she's like, oh, we should have like a routing mode, and like she's telling me all these crazy setups, and I'm like, okay, well, you go for it. And
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so the way I could communicate with them, right? Because I don't, they don't really call me or anything. We have a Slack, so we have a channel just for about every scenario. There's a cancellation, a new booking, a credit card charge, or a invoice sent, quote or proposal sent, or follow up. So everything, really a channel for everything. And they don't call me unless they cannot put up something out of, there's a fire that they cannot
Sure.
solve. That's when, like, hey, Chris, we need your help. So for me, just looking through Slack, kind of keep an eye. Every call also gets logged in a channel. So even though I don't answer every call, I need to, because sometimes I notice this. It's important to have this Slack, and it was amazing. Sometimes, like for me, something is better than nothing. So sometimes if I see the week ahead of me is kind of spotty and it's low, and I see some calls that the customer left because the price maybe was just a little out of hand. That's when I say, hey, listen, for me it's something better than nothing. And if you think you can negotiate and we're still within room, I'll rather grab it than not having anything. And so whenever I see these chats, and sometimes I see, right, they miss this. Me, because I have so many years doing it, and I can see like, oh man, the Friday or Thursday doesn't look good. uh when the next customer calls me, I'm gonna try to sell it for the price, right? But if it doesn't work, I'm gonna try to work it out so I can fill out that position. And so, when I see that, I'm sometimes I say, hey, Gina, call that customer back, tell them, I'll give them 10% off. And then what happens? The customer buys. So I said, yeah, it's always something's better than nothing.
Sure. No, I think I think you're absolutely right, and especially like just from a sales perspective, like get the customer to spend their first dollar again. In this case,
Hmm.
like just get them back in the door and start building that relationship.
That's right.
How important is relationships to you guys when it comes to the cleaning business?
The relationships with the customers.
Yep.
Oh, well, very important, because this is, again, all kind of falls into place when you take care of the customer, right? You have this, they really like you. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. When COVID hit, we literally shut down because nobody wanted us out of the home because of fear of getting sick, and none of our cleaners wanted to clean because they were also afraid of getting sick. So we literally shut down for like 2 months. And what happened? More than half of the customers were like, "Here's the credit card," and then charge me like if you're cleaning. I was baffled. I was like, man, for 2 months, literally the customers were paying. Not all of them, but like a good chunk of them. They were like, hey, listen, run the card. I don't care.
Because
And
of the
so it really all
relationship.
comes down to really because they're like, these guys they also take care of me when it's needed. Let me take care of them.
That's awesome, man. And actually, you know what's crazy about that is you're not the first person I've heard say that. I've heard multiple people say like when COVID hit, our customers, even if their facilities were
Still
down or
paying.
whatnot, they still paid because we were all in like the similar position.
Hmm.
And then when things opened back up, we took care of them as best as we could.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
think that
I totally, and I know, and I'm sure that these other companies you talk is because of the service they give, right? They really go above and beyond, and I think that's what makes them stand out apart.
I love it, man. All right, so I'm gonna hit you with a few just kind of service-based questions, and just kind of riff with me here through them. How do you know when you've just knocked it out of the park with a client, like top notch? Is it a 5-star review you're looking for? Is it a referral? What are you looking for, and how do you know you've absolutely just serviced that account well?
You mentioned them both really. If I get a review and I take the time to read them, like I can see like the customers tells you exactly where you might be actually doing something wrong or bad, right? And say, well, everything's perfect, but I will change this, right? It's always it's good to listen to the customers because it really that's how you can steer in the ship. But the second best for me is a referral because a referral for me it's a done deal. It really is. When I say, "Oh, I'm referred from," like, "Oh, yeah, I got you." I know because the person that refer you knows me and knows that we really do good at what we do, and that's what you calling me. So for me, even though I know I'm gonna still have to sell it, for me it's a done deal, and usually I'm always right.
There you go. I love it, man. In sales, we always say the best sales strategy is a happy client that talks about you.
It really
And
is.
totally agree with that, man. Okay, so that's how you know a an account is well serviced. Um, what would be the benefits of partnering with Queen Bee? You have 24-hour responsiveness. That's awesome. You guys are responsive. What are some other added benefits of working with someone like Queen Bee?
Great question. So on top of having the 24-hour customer service response, right? Being able to always you always call us, we always answer. uh, right? We have the 24-hour warranty. We understand we're human. Sometimes we might miss a thing or maybe two. I just want every customer to find out whenever that happens, you just call us. And I'll make sure that I send a team, whether it's the same or maybe another one, to fix whatever was done, left. Because I really want everyone to feel it's what the amount of the money they paid, it was worth their time. And whenever that happens, and then it's pretty good because I like to tell them this ahead of time. Listen, I know we're not the cheapest in town, but whenever that happens and you have a problem, you can always reach out to me, and I will always want to make sure that you're happy. And so when that you take that fear, is like, well, yeah, you're right. May probably go with this company that's a little cheaper. Well, what happens if it starts going downhill? At least these guys guarantee me that is gonna make me happy.
Sounds like you guys care at the end of the
You
day.
really do. I think because without them, really, we don't have a business.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely, man. All right, so you kind of talked to us about what you look for in hiring, and you look for attitude. I'm curious, what else do you look for when you're hiring people, though, outside of just attitude? Is there you don't really care about skill set, but is there any other qualities you're looking for?
I like to look if they, their job history. If there's someone that is constantly moving, that usually tells me that they like to move. They're not stable. They like to change jobs, change probably phone number, and I know that's going to happen on my case. So when I was like, yeah, so I look for stability. Look, at least you 1 year plus in previous jobs. Doesn't matter if you were, I don't know. completely different job. That shows me that you're responsible. You take time. You stay in one place, and for whatever reason you left it. But that's at least that tells me, okay, this person is more stable.
All right, I got a good question for you. I've never asked this question either.
Okay.
Brag to me about your best employee and why you love them.
Oh God, I think I have to.
Okay.
One will be my virtual assistant, Sheena. She hears this. You're a rock star. She really allowed me to see other things that I was not seeing. I was kind of like so in my kind of like a horse, no? Like I knew my things, I knew my way, and I always like to learn things, and but I never thought like, oh, maybe someone is gonna be even better than me. So when I was able to kind of let of the wheel go and she takes over, there were some mistakes at the beginning, obviously because she never done it before, but like anything, she catch up pretty quickly and she started coming up with ideas. And that for me was like, wow, she takes ownership. She wants to make the process even better. Ah, okay, fantastic. Same thing with another. It's actually a brand new employee, fairly new. I think well, not that new. I think she has a little bit over a year, so she's on the admin side. And she didn't tell us that she went to college. I remember she was like, she just moved from Mexico, and she's like, hey, I got my visa. I just moved in here. Just want a job, and so we sent her, right. And she was in so she studied HR, so she's specialist in HR. So first week she's working for us, and she totally low key. She tells my wife, hey, tomorrow instead of putting the towels here, how about we just put them directly in the truck, in the minivan that we have. That way you save time of because we have to put it here, then from here to there. Imagine the labor. And I'm listening to her, I'm like, uh that's a great idea. And so my wife starts talking more to her, and she's like, oh, actually, so I went to school in Mexico, and I was actually working in an HR department. I'm like, why you didn't say any of this? It's like, because I didn't think it was going to be applicable here, but I'm looking, your operations, and you can improve here, you can improve there. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you for suggestions, and those are really nice ideas. We want to implement them. And actually, it was kind of weird because, as you can imagine, the youngest and then the newest, employee, and then there's other cleaners out there. Is like, what is she telling me what to do? I'm like, it's hard, right? Some some people are like, oh, have more time, but it's really not comes to that. It's really the skills, right, that you bring to the table. I wouldn't have problem to follow a person that's younger than me if she's telling me how to do my job better and perform better. But so that was kind of a little friction, right? Because she literally said, hey, you stop cleaning, you're gonna come and help me with the onboarding, the hiring, the scheduling specifically too. So it's like, yeah, you're really lucky. I mean, if you think about it, because they came to me and then essentially they were like, "Hey, let's change some processes because you're doing some things wrong."
I think that's great, man. It's we learn the most about the like every day of our business from our employees
Hmm.
because like I mean as a business owner you're so far removed to a point to where like we rely on them. And it's funny what we think to be true and what's actually true. And we learn the truth from
You're
the people
absolutely
that we
right.
hire.
Yeah,
It's
that's
wild,
right.
man. It's wild and it's really humbling too.
Hmm.
Um all right. Why let's we're going to get into some sales talk here. Which I know you're a great sales guy, man. When you hear a client talk about, "Oh, we're already in contract," or "We're already working with someone," what would your response be to that?
Well, that's great, but I would still love to extend you an opportunity to try our services. We really want to be the best cleaning company in town, and to make sure that you at least give us an opportunity, I'm gonna give you a discount on the first cleaning, totally free. I just want to
Love it.
show my quality of work, and then after that, you can make an informed decision whether you want to continue with your cleaning service or not.
Nice. I love it, man. So do you you offer a free clean, huh?
Yeah, I think and a lot of people are afraid of that. I also told my the people that I'm teaching, for realtors, I don't mind giving a free clean because yes, you might lose a little bit on you don't make money. You're gonna pay your cleans out of your pocket, but what happens if that customer or that realtor or that property manager is wowed? They have multiple properties under their care, and what do you think the next logical thing it is? They're gonna give them to you.
Yes.
So it's more like, I see it more like a customer acquisition cost.
Yeah, 100%, man. You got the
Hmm.
right mindset
Hmm.
totally
Yeah, it is.
in play there, man. You got to think long term. You can't think short term.
Long term, really, it really is. Another thing you cannot touch onto that, right? Uh, Guys, if anybody's seeing this, really, this is what allowed me to scale so fast. A lot of cleaning companies, they charge a deep cleaning at the beginning. You get to the customer, you talk numbers, and say, okay, you're gonna be monthly, is gonna be this, but the first time is gonna be this. And what happens? Usually, that's a done, like a turn down for them. I applied this probably 3 years ago. I said, you know what? I don't care about the deep cleaning. If it's gonna be a monthly clean for like 2, 3 years, why would I make it hard on him to do business with me? So I charge the same amount from the beginning and boom. So the commercials, they just don't get the big amount, right? It's like, hey, let's just start and then to get you going. Because the way you mentioned is like, say, I'll make the money I see on, on the long term.
I love it, man. I think that's such a good idea there. It gets your foot in the door, it gets you building that relationship,
Yeah, it really
and
is. Once you make
and
the connection, it's easy.
yeah, 100%, man. So, okay, going back to some sales objections here. Um, all right, I'm already working with the cleaning company. I don't feel great about them. I don't know if I should switch. Um, how do I know when it's time to actually make the commitment to switch to a new cleaning company?
Well, you just mentioned it, right? So there's already some quality issues there. And if you think about it, your employees at your location or your customers that come to location, if your business is not in tip-top shape, it reflects on it, and without you even think about it right now, it is going to affect your bottom line. So I think this is one of those things that you need to really take care of it. Again, let me show you what we are all about, and then once that you see the results, and then listen from your own customers and employees the results, then you can tell me.
Love it, man. I love it. What would you say to a business that has their staff? Man, I come across this all the time. Well, our staff does the cleaning, but then you walk in and the place is messy, and the store clerk or the register, the person working the register, they weren't hired to do cleaning, and here they are
Mhm.
doing cleaning. So hey, we our employees do the cleaning. I don't know if we should outsource it. What would you say to something like that?
That is a great question, right? But like it's the office person is not gonna take the time. She was hired to answer the phone, and while she might, take the garbage out and dust a little bit here and there, you really need a professional cleaning to clean top to bottom because number one,
Yes.
the property is gonna look great, and number two, you're gonna avoid potential germs and then people getting sick for having a place that is not professionally clean.
I I agree, man. I hear it all the time too when when there's employees that are doing their own company's
It doesn't
cleaning.
work. I mean, they don't really do it. I mean, they might do it and might like very superficially,
Dude,
but
absolutely, man.
after weeks and weeks, I mean, you can just tell.
I'm gonna give you a quick little story here, and I'm
Hmm.
actually gonna turn this whole entire thing to a podcast too, Chris, because it's just been that good that
Oh man, awesome!
I just can't. We can use all this for
Thank
a
you, brother.
podcast too. But I walked into a pet store with my two kids, and man, the place was just a mess. But it's like a professional chain. I won't mention the
Uh
store
huh.
name
Uh
here,
huh.
but and I go to the store manager. I say, "Hey, man, random question. I'm in commercial cleaning. I'm here in Denver. I have a great commercial cleaner in Denver. Do you guys do your own cleaning, or like, do you guys have a cleaning company?" And he goes, "Man," he's like, "we do the cleaning and we hate it." And he's like,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You should talk to our store owner." And I'm like, "Absolutely. Can I get
Yep.
his information?" Yeah. Hey, here's the store owner's information. Get his card. Hey, can I tell him that Kevin told me to call him?
Yep.
Please, please, please. Yeah.
There
And
you
then
go.
now the deal never came to fruition, but like all of a sudden you get in the door that way, right? You start.
That is actually a great way because well, maybe they didn't have the budget, but if you think about it, when you see this, obviously there's you can see that they're having an issue, and that's the perfect time for you to approach them and say, "Hey, who's in charge here of the clean?
To-
And who does it?" Because more than times than not, like you mentioned, they're gonna be like, "We do it, but we don't want to do it, or we hate it," right? So it's a perfect timing. I mean, I think it's just a matter of that maybe they didn't have the budget, but that's the right way to do it.
Totally, man. All right. So quickly, from a commercial side of things, just talk to me about what services commercially do you guys offer?
Okay, so right now we only offer what is just office cleaning. So we use what's carpet cleaning. We offer also carpet cleaning. So carpet cleaning, floor cleaning. So essentially we use the same machine. We just change the head. So it's floor care, carpet cleaning, and then just regular janitorial.
Awesome. No, I think that makes a total sense. Do you guys do any type of deep cleans for offices?
Yes, and then before that, yes, this is actually a new service that we started, pressure washing. So we also offer pressure washing because there was offices that are like, hey, can you pressure wash the parking lot? Of course, I said, how hard could it be? I end up getting myself wet all over, but I got the machine and the machine paid itself. So now we offer another service.
There you go, man. I love it. So pressure washing it is. Do you guys do any you guys do any type of window cleaning? If you do pressure washing, man, you should look into like
So yeah,
exterior
window
window
cleaning it
cleaning.
depends. So if it's interior, we do the cleaning. If it's exterior, we only do it on the first story. Just because our workers come will just okay, you're gonna go to the second story, it's gonna go to this much, and it doesn't make sense to pay for that amount. I think that's what it's more like specialized, window cleaners, than they can do that. But is this interior? We definitely do it.
Totally, man. No, I think that's great. Man, Chris, I'm gonna tell you, man, I think this has just been so valuable. Is there anything else about Queen Bee that you might want to mention? That maybe questions I haven't asked. I mean, you guys really cover the whole gamut: residential, commercial. You have been in the business now 7 years. You guys
Mm-hmm.
give back to the community, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
anything that I didn't mention that you might want on record here?
Wow, no, I think we mentioned everything that I think is very worth mentioning. I think if anything, I'll just remind your audience to look for outsourcing. I think it's like the greatest thing any business can do. I'm telling you, like you can outsource just about everything. And what that gonna do is gonna free a cash flow, so you can reinvest that into the business, so you can scale even faster than it was possible before. I mean, think about it, guys. We especially COVID now, right? That kind of accelerated the I guess the virtual works and whatnot. But it's been here for a while, right? It's not nothing new. I had some virtual assistants before doing like graphic design and stuff like that. So really is, it's this opportunity that's out there. If you have any small business, cleaning, pressure washing, whatever it is, right? You can outsource lots of them, departments. Watch your business skyrocket.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well,